Good morning and welcome to the podcast. My guest this morning is Jenifer Jennett. She is with the National Alliance on Mental Illness, also known by the acronym NAMI, and she's actually with the Marion and Crawford County, I guess they would say chapters, wouldn't they? Affiliates.
Mm-hmm.
So you are the executive director of the, I'm going to start this all over.
Okay.
I don't like it, I'm messing this up.
Okay.
Randy, I'm starting this over. I'm going to roll again. I'm fumbling over my tongue. Good morning and welcome to the podcast. My guest today is Jenifer Jennett. She is with the Marion and Crawford County National Alliance on Mental Illness. And it's a pleasure to have her back here for another podcast. Welcome back.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
All right. A lot of things in this area. I guess what I would start off first of all is we already said, how did NAMI get started basically in this area? Or I know there's a history here.
There is a bit of history here. I'll go back briefly to the history of NAMI in general.
Yeah, that's great.
So the National Alliance of Mental Illness, so it was started by a couple mothers who would get together and talk about troubles that they were having within their own family that related to mental illness. And they started talking and started meeting, and they connected to other people who started meeting, and they found the benefit in that and how powerful it was to have other people that were journeying through the same journey get together and talk about it. And that's essentially how NAMI was founded. So that NAMI is now the largest grassroots organization on mental illness and mental health in the country. And then we are the local affiliate, as you discussed. Each community will have their own affiliate, and that we can tailor our programs and our education groups and support groups to what is needed in our community. And so our affiliate was originally brought about many years ago, and then a person by the name of Bernie Shell was the pivotal person that really grew this affiliate, and she started growing the family class that is now nationally known throughout the United States, and it really just started right here in Marion. So a little bit of history there.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So you've got your footprint in that from the beginnings of the organization.
Yeah, and that's what's great about NAMI as a national organization. They learn from what works, and they will take something such as what Bernie started here in Marion and says, that really worked well, let's provide it throughout the nation. So.
Well, I got to thinking about this because we have a lot of people listen from all over our podcast, and I got to thinking about when we said, how could you basically define, when we talk about mental illness, what does that constitute? That conjures up a lot of thoughts with people, and
yeah, and you asked me that right before we started this, and it's funny, we also mentioned how when it's a part of your everyday world or part of your life that you're so familiar with it that you sometimes forget the definition or what is mental illness, like how do you conceptualize that. So I looked on NAMI.org because NAMI.org is a wealth of information and it's a wonderful tool that anybody can use, but I'm going to use it for the definition of mental illness here. And they have a mental illness as a condition that affects a person's thinking, feeling, or mood. Such conditions may affect someone's ability to relate to others and function each day. Each person will have a different experience, even people with the same diagnosis. So I thought that was a great definition and a way to describe what mental illness is. And I think what's really important there is that each person's experience is different. So it doesn't always look the same. You just know that something's not necessarily right or feeling right.
I think that's very important because it's very individualized.
Yes.
Yes, it's just not we use a term and everybody thinks, oh yeah, I know what that means. Well, basically what it means. Maybe you have in your conceptualization in your mind what that may be. But in your reality of your own life, it may be a total take a different form. There's just many components to this. That's why I threw that out, because some people, when you talk about mental illness, and of course, over the years, I'm at the age where I remember people, when you mentioned mental illness, that was like almost a forbidden topic. You could not speak about it, or nor would you even want to say that you had issues along.
Experience,
Yes,
right.
had experience with that. I believe we're getting past that.
Yes.
And NAMI is a part of that process.
And that's one of our major goals, is to help reduce stigma.
Yes.
Because the more that you talk about what you're experiencing, the more hope you have for living a fulfilled life and living in what we call recovery, which
Right.
means learning to live with what you're experiencing, maybe just in a different way than what you did before or what you thought it might look like, but still living a great life.
Well, I started off with that question, what is it? Because there's an education process and there's a support process to everything we work with in this life.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you folks have educational support.
Yep.
You have support groups. Let's talk about those components.
Yeah, so you hit it, because education and support are both so important. Education, we have lots of ways that we help to educate folks, and one of the ways that we do is that we have a group for families. So if you have a family member or a friend really, that's experiencing mental illness in any way, we have an educational class that we meet for 8 weeks in a row for about 2 hours at a time. And the curriculum is evidence-based, it's developed by psychologists, and it goes very in-depth about what is a mental illness and how's this impacting the person and how's it impacting the family, and what the family can do to help support and encourage that person, and how to take care of themselves too, because when you're a caretaker, self-care is very important. And
Absolutely.
this educational class covers all of that. The other classes that we have available, one of the classes we have is online. It's called Basics, and that is on NAMI.org. And Basics is exactly what it sounds like. It gives the basics of what mental illness is. It's more about for parents who have children who are experiencing some symptoms, that they could take this online class and get an idea of what different mental illnesses look like and their characteristics. But again, all about education. Our support groups are really, really, really impactful for people, whether it be a family. We have a family support group that families can come together and just support each other, and
Right.
we hold those once a month, and we have on our website our calendar that's always up. We also have a Facebook page to let folks know when we have things coming up as well. But we hold one in Crawford County and then one in Marion County each month, or not Marion County, I'm so sorry,
That's all right.
monthly for families. And then we also have a support group. It's called a connection support group. And those groups are for folks who actually are experiencing a mental illness. So if you yourself are experiencing any sort of mental illness, you can get connected with a connection support group. And those just bring folks together again, learn about each other, learn about how to, just provide encouragement and to listen and to just be there for each other. And some of those groups really get very connected and build, friendships and support outside of the groups. But the intention is just to get people connected. So.
Well, if you can get people to communicate, and that's a big part of this. Being able to communicate and try to, you have to have some wisdom to come up with some wisdom and understanding is so key in everything. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to understand something unless you have the wisdom behind it, and kind of vice versa. You need to have the understanding to reach wisdom about a thing. But there are there's many aspects to this, and this is why I asked the question I did and about the support that you can do, because it's not one person affected by this. It could be family members. There's a lot of people. It's not sometimes people look, well, this quote, this person has a problem.
Yeah,
It's not this, we have a lot of people that's gonna have a problem,
we do. It
because they're all
definitely
affected.
affects the relationships within the
Yeah.
family unit
Yeah.
on many different levels, and that's why NAMI is so great about supporting families and
Mhm.
friends of those as well, not just the person, because it does, it touches lots of people within their life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you've really nailed it, Dave, because this is exactly what we wanted to talk about, is like how it's just like a ripple effect. And so you're not alone, you know, I think that's NAMI's slogan that they really talk about, that I talk about, is that a person is not alone. You're not alone. A family member, you're not alone. There's lots of people out there that are dealing with this. There are lots of families that are out there dealing with this. And we're a way to help get people connected. We help get people educated and connected so that they're not alone.
Well, Jenifer, isolation is never a good thing in this.
Yeah, absolutely, yes, absolutely.
We don't want, because, again, people have a tendency, if they run into something like that, then they, what I call cocoon, they kind of go into this thing, and I'm gonna protect myself, and so I'm not letting anybody in.
Right.
So, you know, I wanted to point this out, because I think it's a very serious issue, but there is help,
There is help.
and there's hope.
And there is hope, 100%. And you mentioned about, we talked about not being alone and being a cocoon. I have a couple statistics I did want to mention. 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience a mental illness every year. And 1 in 20 U.S. adults experience serious mental illness every year. So when you look at those numbers, 1 in 5 people are experiencing a mental illness in some way each year. You're definitely not alone. You're
Yes.
just not aware of it.
Yes,
You know,
that's a good way of saying that. You're just not aware of it.
you're just not aware of it.
Yeah.
And that's what we seek to do, is to help people reduce that stigma and talk about it and be honest about where they're at, where they're struggling, because it's not a negative thing. It's just something that is, you know.
I always tell people, a lot of times, the biggest lies you will tell it to yourself.
You're very right.
And you have to be very careful about that, because sometimes you're trying to, I hate to say it, preach to yourself, and no, there's something on that program that's not quite all right. And sometimes that we think we can fix something ourselves, which we can't fix, and maybe it's not really something we need to fix. I think that's another term we have to be very careful with too.
Right, I agree. Yes, I mean, it's true that there are medications that can help support someone who's experiencing mental illness. There's different therapies, but like you said, it's not necessarily a fix, it's a support to
Yes.
help someone live their best life.
Yeah. Jenifer, anything else you want to share briefly today as we maybe wrap the podcast?
I do want to mention, we have a couple resources that I think are really important
Yes,
to
please share
let
those.
people know about. NAMI Ohio is our state organization, and they have a helpline available that's available on Monday through Friday, and it's 8 to 5. And let me tell you the number. It's 1-800-686-2646. Again, that's NAMI Ohio's helpline. Anyone can call this number and ask and talk to someone who will be able to give them resources, or get them connected to resources, or maybe just be a listening ear. And so I want to make sure I get that. There is a text option too, and that's 741-741. You just text 741-741, and someone will respond to the text. So I did want to make sure that I gave that number. There's also a national NAMI helpline, and they're open until 10 p.m. We have all this information too available for anyone.
Is that on your website?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you give your website?
Okay.
See, we got a lot of information. I know there's a lot of sites.
It's okay. I just want to make sure I get all the information correct. Okay, so we're at www.namimcc.org. So that stands for Marion, Crawford County. So NAMIMCC.org.
.org.
Yes.
NAMIMCC.org.
Yes. And
That is your website.
That is our website. And then again, we do have a Facebook page too for folks that are listening. And we have a calendar of events. We have phone numbers that are important. We have all that on our website that you're able to access.
All right, and I'm going to give this number again. You can correct me on this. Is NAMI's Ohio Helpline, correct?
Yes.
And they're Monday through Friday, 8 to 5?
Yes.
And that number is 1-800-686-2646.
That's correct.
I got it right.
You got it right.
I didn't stumble over that one. Or they could text also 741-741.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, just want to make sure I got all this helpful information in.
If I appreciate it. It's very important information. And of course, if any time someone's in a state of crisis with a mental illness or a mental health issue, they would want to call or text 988.
Right. Any other things that we might want to cover this morning?
I don't think so. I mean, the only other thing I will put out there is we're always looking for volunteers. If there's someone that's listening that has a passion within their heart to help others with that are suffering or I should say experiencing a mental illness, reach out to us also and get connected because we can sure use you.
All right, now am I correct? Your number, let's see if I'm correct on it, is 740-375-0796? Is that the office number
Yes.
for NAMI?
Yes.
The reason I'm asking that is in case somebody you said wants to volunteer or something, that would be a number that they could go
Yes.
also there as well. And you can, I'm sure again, you can see this information
Yes.
on
the website.
On the website, or
And
you
it's
go on
always
to
good to give a
Facebook.
number. Yep.
Yep, but I like to give out a lot of information because some people are not on social media and
Yes.
or they're not on a computer. So we try to reach everybody. So that's why I'm kind of doing this ad nauseum today. I'm sorry, I can't even speak. I was tripping over my tongue.
No, I appreciate all that you've done in having us on here and getting the word out about this very important message and about our organization that's right here available to help.
Well, and you're here in Marion and Crawford County. Yes. And again, my guest has been Jenifer Jennett. She's with the National Alliance on Mental Illness and their local affiliate or alliance. I guess you could say affiliate is for Marion and Crawford County.
Yes, you're exactly right.
All right, thank you very much for being a guest on the podcast. I wish you all the success here in the new year. And again, it's a very serious topic, but it's something that shouldn't be brushed aside. You need to face things.
Yes.
And the best way to conquer is to face it.
You're absolutely right. Thank you so much for having us.
Okay, thank you.